Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name's Katie and today I'm going to be talking about some recent reads. So I have quite a lot of recent reads to catch up on and I tried to break it down into about 10 books per video. So I'm going to end up with 3 I think, but I'll try and spread them out in terms of uploading. But yeah, I just haven't been filming for a while. So basically it's all the books I've read in 2022 so far. So there's quite a few, but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to talk about them. I think this video especially, I wanted to do this one first, even though these are kind of the most recent books I've read. Some of them are really exciting, like some really exciting arcs and some really exciting books I've been looking forward to for a long time. So yeah. So the first book is The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. So this book I had a really kind of strange experience with, because for the first like 10% I was a bit like dubious about it and I thought I'd probably hate it. But then suddenly, like, I don't know what happened, but I suddenly started really being into it. And I actually ended up really enjoying it. So I think I gave it 4 stars. And it's very sort of, I wouldn't say it's anything like especially unique, but I think what it does and it executes it very well, which I really enjoyed. It reminds me a lot of There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole. So I think if you like that series, you'll really like this one. So basically we're following these 4 heirs to these 4 houses in the city, and the different houses, they all have like different powers. So like one I think is the like light, one is like shadows and dark, one is like elemental, and one is like necromancy. So yeah, these 4 heirs, so you have Tasia, who is like the shadow, although she's not the heir, her older brother is the heir, but yeah, she is probably my least favourite character. She's that kind of character archetype who's like, think the author clearly thinks they're like super cool and like, I don't know, but they just, something about you rubs you the wrong way. I don't know, but I really liked all the other characters. So, and I really like Tasia's older brother, Dante, but he's not in it for a lot of the book, but like yeah, I really liked him. Anyway, so then Nick, who is the like light and he's like a soldiery guy. He reminds me of Grey from Mask and Mirrors. I really liked him. Then Angelica, who is the like elemental person, but she something strange is going on with her magic, because she like can't use her powers properly unless she's like playing the instrument at the same time. But like her family is like, no, you can't do this, we're gonna hide your instruments because you have to be like powerful. And so there's quite a lot of thing there, but she was a really interesting character actually. And then what's her name, Risha, who is the necromancy like heir. I loved her power, she was so cool. I really liked her, but I wish we'd got more of her. She was like the character that I feel like was the actually cool one. But then Tasia is the character that like the author thought was cool, so Tasia got a lot more of the focus. But I really like Risha. So yeah, so those 4 like team up and they're trying to investigate. They're not the biggest fans of each other because they're like been rivals their whole lives, and they're teaming up trying to solve this weird like ritual that they're gonna enact to try and like bring magic back properly, because there's like something weird in the world, like the gods have sort of turned their backs on the city and like closed off all the magic properly, so they want more power to come to the families. So they're trying to investigate that, then someone ends up dead, and like Tasia's older brother Dante gets framed for it. So yeah, and there's all these weird like ritualistic things going on. There's this like cult or faction who I think they're called the Conjurers, who are like bringing demons back. So there's just a lot going on, and I thought it was really fun, and I really liked most of the characters. Then about a third of the way into the book we meet another main character called Julian, who I really liked him as well. He was great. Yeah, so then we meet him and get to know more about him, and he's kind of mysterious powers because he can like talk to beasts, which is really cool, and it's not like a known power, so he's a bit of a mystery, although I will say it's kind of predictable like what he is. I don't know, but despite it being sort of like quite generic and predictable, I just feel like it was really like solidly kind of written and really enjoyable, and the plot was really like kept you really engaged. So I don't know, I'd still really recommend it. And as well, Tasia's little sister was a really interesting character as well. I hope we get to see more of her in the next book. And that is, again, it reminds me a lot of There Will Come a Darkness, because like the really powerful like little sister character, I don't know. I wouldn't say romance was really a focus to this, but there are like various little side romances going on, which I really liked. And it's quite like a few of them are queer as well, which I liked. So yeah. Then next I read The Discord of Gods, which is the final book in the Chorus of Dragons series by Jen Leons, and I love this series. It's just complete chaos and like fun and just a bit like, especially the later books I think are a little bit cheesy, but I just love them. I really enjoyed this conclusion. I think I gave it 4.75 stars. I still think A Memory of Swords is my favourite. But I really liked how this one sort of wrapped everything up. I thought the ending was very like almost full circle. I really liked it. Really liked all the action and like the kind of climax of the book. I thought was really good. I think the only thing I slightly wished for more of was like quieter moments with the characters, because the book is like non-stop, like go go go. There's so much action, so much political drama. Like I feel like, I guess in a way you've had 4 books to like get to know the characters and like spend time with them, especially book 4. I think we get a lot of quieter character moments, but in this one everything is like go go go. But I just wanted a few moments of like, I don't know, characters having a little domestic moment, but I guess it's understandable. I think Robin Hobbs ruined me, honestly. But yeah, no, I thought it was really good. I really liked the plot. I thought the kind of, I think the first half there's a lot of setup and like it almost felt a bit like a chess game, like getting pieces into place, but I think the payoff is really good. I love all the characters, obviously. Yeah, there's just a lot of like drama and shenanigans, and yeah, I think it's fun. I think if you like the series you won't be disappointed by the finale. So yeah. Although actually it did make me realise that I think I liked House of Always a lot more than I don't know, so maybe House of Always is my favourite. I don't know, anyway. And Sonera will always be my queen. Oh, love her. Yeah, okay, and then I read Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, which I really enjoyed this one as well. So this one is very like, kind of almost like fairy tale folklore-y vibes. I'm following Mara, who, so she is like the youngest princess in this kingdom, and her 2 older sisters were both married off to this like other kingdom where the prince is like a bit sort of, Mara thinks he's like strange because her first sister died, and then her second sister is very like, she thinks something strange is going on. I mean, she's right, but so she wants revenge on this prince, so she goes on this mission to try and find this grave witch to like curse the prince and kill him. And along the way she acquires various like people on her little side mission. So she gets, so there's like the grave witch, then there's this other witch character, I can't even remember what she does, but she has this like demon possessed chicken. Then there's like this skeleton dog who Mara's made. Then there's this like, I don't even know how he comes into the story, but this like basically himbo soldier guy. And they're all on this mission to try and like take down this prince, and it's just a lot of fun. It's very sort of cozy while being like fairy tale-y, but there's also, it's quite dark in places. It's that kind of like, yeah, grim fairy tale but also cozy. I don't know, that's the best way to describe it. I really liked Mara as a character. I also liked, she's a bit older, so she's like late 20s I would say, or early 30s, I can't remember. And the 2 older like granny characters, I love them, like the witchy characters, so I love seeing the kind of whole range of ages. I also think it's really interesting depiction of how what you can, if you know someone's being kind of domestically abused. So we're not really focusing on the characters who are in an abusive relationship, but following on the kind of relatives of those characters. And I think it's interesting like what you do as a relative, because you want to help them, but then some things you do might not be helpful, so it's like how you can best support them. I thought it was very interesting. And it's kind of interesting from the perspective of like, as a doctor and like safeguarding and like what you, because if like you suspect someone's being abused but then they don't want any help, then if they're an adult, if it's a child it's different, but if they're an adult then you have to kind of respect their wishes, but that's like really hard to do when you're someone who wants to help. I don't know, so it's interesting. So yeah, so that one would definitely recommend. I think I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars. I really like T. Kingfisher's, I don't know if it's TK or just T. Kingfisher's writing. I've read a couple of other books by them. I really want to read Paladin's Grace, I think it's called. That might be Paladin's something, the first one anyway. And next I read A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. So this one is a kind of fantasy romance, I would say. So following Velison, who at the start of the book, he is like engaged in this like political marriage to this other kingdom, and then the ambassador comes to like visit them to take Velison away to this other kingdom, but then there Velison is like caught with another man in a like compromising position, and so but it's like very looked down upon to be queer in his kingdom, but then this other kingdom is like very like queer norm, so the ambassador says, oh, it's okay, you don't need to marry the daughter, you can marry the son, so that they go away. And then so Velison then gets married to this son, so they're kind of, I love the arranged marriage trope, is so good, and yeah, and then they kind of growing closer, but at the same time there's this faction in the city who are not happy about this new kind of alliance, and trying to like take them down, and there's various like political maneuverings going on in the city, like a kind of bit of a threat like lurking, and then Velison and his new husband Kay, they team up to try and investigate what's going on basically. It's also, so Velison is sexually assaulted at the start of the book, which big trigger warning for that, I guess, but the author actually does put a trigger warning at the start of the book, which I really liked. And so it's kind of a story of him healing basically, like, because the plot elements, they are interesting, but like I would say the main focus is like the relationship and the healing. I really like that. Also, oh, I forgot to mention this in my other video, but Velison's like kind of his like valet type thing, but they're also really good friends. I really like their relationship, and the valet is mute as well, which I thought was really interesting, and they like use sign language, and I really like that. And I just really liked how close they were and that like strength of the friendship. I don't know, I just really loved it. And the like teasing as well, oh, it's so fun. I always love good friendships in books. I really like the relationship as well. It was very sort of sweet and caring, and like the cinnamon roll of interest I always love, and the like, yeah, court drama and like family drama is also juicy. So yeah, would definitely recommend that one. And then also, so I think because I read them at the same time, they're a tiny bit similar. The A Taste of Iron and Gold by Alexandra Rowland, which is another arc, and this one also comes out in like July time. So this one we are following Cadu, who is a prince, and he gets in this like altercation with another kind of important ambassador at court, and then Cadu is kind of shamed for this, and to prove himself to his sister, who is the queen, he agrees to like take on this investigation of these like counterfeit coins and this like robbery from a guild, because there's something like strange going on, and also the queen says in order to like whip him into shape he has to have this new bodyguard called Evermere, who is like very kind of stoic and like cold, and but you know that inside he's like a cinnamon roll. But so yeah, so then they start growing closer, and they also start investigating this mystery of what's going on. Yeah, this one again is very much a fantasy romance, but I really enjoyed it. I really like the relationship. I really liked as well some of the side characters and the relationships they had with Cadu, like Cadu and his sister. Also, this other character called Tadek, who's like Cadu's old bodyguard, who is now, because he was involved in this altercation, so he's now been like demoted from being a bodyguard, and he's like, Cadu takes him in as his like, almost like, I didn't even know, like not apprentice, he like does various like different tasks and things, but like his journey as well was really, I really liked him, even though he doesn't get a POV. I just feel like his story is really like precious as well. He just deserves his own book anyway. Yeah, I liked his relationship with Cadu as well, and his relationship with Evermere as well. That was probably one of my favourite like side relationships in the book. Yeah, and it's just the writing is very kind of cozy and like comforting. It reminds me a lot of The Goblin Emperor, and very sort of luscious as well, the writing, I would say. You definitely feel like immersed in the atmosphere. What else? There was something I was going to say. Oh yeah, there's I would say this book is quite triggering if you have like anxiety or panic attacks, because the panic attacks are like incredibly well written. Like they're so visceral, and like you can like palpably feel the like irrational anxiety and like terror coming off the page. And I think if you're not in a place to read that, it would be quite triggering. But having said that, I do think it's really good representation of anxiety. And the sort of, I like the message of how like anxiety shouldn't stop you from doing things, or it doesn't make you a bad person or like a weak person. and you're still deserving of love and stuff. I don't know, I'm a sucker for those kind of things. So yeah, I really liked it. Okay, then next we have The God of Lost Words, which is the final book in the Library of the Unwritten series, which I love this series so much. This one 5 stars, obviously. Oh, I didn't even give my ratings for the other books. So Strangest, Stubborn Endurance, I think I gave 4.5 but rounded up to 5. And then Taste of Iron and Gold, I gave 4.75 rounded up to 5. And this one I gave 5. I don't know, I feel like I've been quite generous with ratings recently, but I feel like I've been reading a lot of good books. So also I've been reading quite a bit of romance, and I feel like I generally rate those a little bit differently from fantasy. So yeah, anyway, this one, oh, I just loved it so much. It's probably my favourite of the trilogy, although I've only read this one once, and I've read Archive of Forgotten about 3 or 4 times. So I feel like, but I feel like once I've read this one a couple more times, this one will definitely be my favourite, because I just loved it. I've done the messages as well. There was some amazing quotes. I wrote them down on my like notes app, but I'm filming on my phone, so I can't see them. But there's something about like books or a mirror to, was it page 220 maybe? Oh yeah, that was the power of stories, the ability to find a mirror when you felt invisible. I just love that, and like there's so many quotes like that, like books and stories, and it's just like a love letter to people who like love books and stories. And I love all the characters so much. So we're following Claire in the first one, Claire, who's this librarian in this unwritten wing of hell, where books like that haven't been written yet live. And she has her assistant Brevity, who is a muse, and then in the first book they have this little demon called Leto, who's like full of anxiety. I love him. And then one of the characters from one of the books escapes to try and hunt down his author, called Hero. So Claire, Brevity and Leto go and try and chase down Hero. And then at the same time they're being sort of unknowingly stalked by this angel called Rami, or Ramiel. And then yeah, various things happen, and there's this like conspiracy going on with the books, and then yeah, just things escalate. In this book they're sort of trying to like save the library from hell, and it's so good. I love it so much. The characters are just all so lovable. I also really like Claire, Hero and Rami, a kind of like polyamorous relationship, which I love. I love the like banter between them. I love all the moments where they're like, oh, it's so cute. The ending of this is really like kind of a bittersweet in a way, but also just perfect. I don't know, it's just so good. I love all the characters. Would definitely recommend this series a lot. And just when you're reading it, you feel like you're just kind of coming home. I don't know, it's like that kind of, yeah, it just love it. Okay, okay, then next I read In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens or something. So this one is, I thought this one was really kind of sweet and cozy. It gives you a bit like fairy tale vibes, I would say. A bit like The Little Mermaid. I don't know. I gave this one 3.5 stars because I thought it was, I liked it, but it just wasn't like, I don't know, I just feel like it was a tiny bit surface level, but I would still definitely recommend it, but it just wasn't like, but I think I still gave it 3.5 rounded up to 4, which is different from a 3.5 rounded down to 3. So I did like it. It was very cozy. So yeah, what happened? So the character, he's called Alfen. No, that's the other guy. What's the main character called? Can't remember. So the main character, he's like a prince, but he's like one of the younger princes, so he's not in line or anything, but he's going off on this like little mission, well, not even a mission, they go on this like tour of the world as their like coming of age thing, and there they sort of run into some pirates, and then they like rescue this guy who's like trapped in the hold, and then they like bump back into each other in the town, and then but it turns out this guy is a mermaid. And then the main character, he someone tries to assassinate him, so he like runs away and hides. Oh no, he gets kidnapped and then runs away. Anyway, I can't remember exactly what happens, but then yeah, then they're trying to discover like what's going on, who's trying to kidnap him. There's a curse. Oh, is there a curse? No, the Alphen, the mermaid character, is sort of a bit cursed. So yeah, that's going on as well. So yeah, I thought it was really cute. If you're looking for like just like a cute, sweet sort of fairy tale-y book, like sea, I like the sort of sea shippy vibes as well. Would definitely recommend that one. And then after that I read Legends and Lattes, which by Travis Baldry, which I really like this one. I think I gave it 4.75 stars. Yeah, it's just so like, it's like cozy and like comforting, and it's just, oh, I think I described it in my Goodreads review as like ASMR in a book, which is like the best description I can give, honestly. It's quite short, like I read it in one evening. And it's just so like comforting. So we're following Viv, who is an orc. Well, I don't really know what an orc is, but I sort of have a vague idea. And she has like been fighting her whole life, but she's decided she wants to retire from a life of fighting and start up her own coffee shop. So she goes to the city and buys this like old stable, which she's going to convert to a coffee shop. But no one in the city like knows what coffee is. It's kind of a like rare thing in the other world. So anyway, so she's setting up this coffee shop, and it's sort of just her story of like them trying to set up the coffee shop basically. It's kind of low stakes, but actually the front cover says high fantasy and low stakes, but it's actually way higher stakes than I was expecting. And like you get so invested in this coffee shop and like you want it to succeed. So yeah, so she like teams up with this builder guy, I think he's called Cal, and then she hires this like assistant slash partner for the shop to like help run it. What's she called Tandri. And then they also, after they've opened, they get this baker called what's he called, Thimble. And Thimble is the cutest character in existence. I love him so much. Also, I really like, this book will make you crave cinnamon rolls, oh, and then croissants, oh, and like the descriptions of the food are just so good, and like the descriptions of the coffee. I don't even like coffee, but I was like salivating. And just that kind of, I feel like it really captures that like the moment when you're like having a hot drink and it just comforts you from the world. I don't know, like that cozy cafe feeling. I just really love it. But then also at the same time, like Viv is being slightly haunted by her past, and there's these characters who are sort of threatening the coffee shop. So I feel like you are quite invested, and even though it says it's low stakes, I feel like there are some stakes because you're worried for the coffee shop. But yeah, it's very like cozy fantasy, and I just love it. Like it's just perfect little break from the world. Oh, cannot recommend it enough. Also the cover's so pretty. I got the Kindle edition because I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of the US like paperbacks because they're taller than UK ones, and I feel like they look out of place on the shelf. But if it ever publishes in like UK, then I will be buying it 100%. To be honest, I might even get the US version, but we'll see. So yeah, and then the last two books I'm going to talk about is Dilate for Aunties and the sequel for Aunties in a Wedding, which I had an arc of. I don't believe it's out. I think it's out quite soon, but it might not be out when this video goes up, or it might be, because who knows how long this video will be before it's up. So the first one for Dilate for Aunties, so we're following Medi, who accidentally, on this date, she accidentally kills her date because she's basically about to be like assaulted. So she like tases him, and then they crash the car, and then she thinks he's dead. So she gets the help of her mum and her like 3 aunties to try and like cover up this murder. But so her and her like aunties and mum have this wedding planning business. So they are about to be pulling off this big wedding that's going on as a resort for these like 2 famous people. So they're trying to like manage this wedding while trying to deal with this corpse that they've got to get rid of and like cover up this murder. So it's just so funny. Like I laughed out loud, like literally out loud, so many times while reading this. It's just and the situations they get themselves in are just so ridiculous. And it's definitely very over the top. Like no way would like some of the situations happen in real life. But it is really funny, and like I feel like it just fits the tone of the book, and yeah, it's just so much fun. I love all the like aunties and that kind of, I guess it's an interesting, I feel like I've heard like good things from Own Voices reviewers, that is very like realistic, like Chinese aunties type thing. I mean, obviously I can't really say on that because I don't really have any experience with that, but I think it was really interesting, and I love like the whole dynamic within the family. So yeah, I just loved it. It was so much fun. The only thing I think I did like the sort of romance, but I don't think it was really a main focus of the story. Like I like both the characters, but I feel like I wasn't that invested in their like romance in a way. I was way more invested in like the mystery. And then the sequel, so now it's Meddy's own wedding, and the aunties are back and it's just so much fun again. I feel like the sequel, in a way, it's like slightly less ridiculous but also more ridiculous. I don't know how to say it, like the premise is slightly less far-fetched but it's also in a way like more far-fetched, so I don't know, but I just really enjoyed it. Oh, it was so funny. The aunties are just like as iconic as ever. Yeah, I just love it. I love how they tease each other and stuff. And I also think in this one, so the author says in her note at the beginning, she was trying to like discuss kind of different diaspora sort of identities and how like different families are very different, and just because you're from the same culture doesn't mean you'll like be the same, or which I think is, you do kind of realise that, but like I think it's a really interesting thing. And there's like about, I would say there's like 3 main different kind of diaspora families in the book, and they're all very different, and I think that's really interesting to kind of see that. So yeah, I thought they were both really fun. I think I gave them both 4 stars. If you're just looking for a good time, would highly recommend. Yeah, they were a little bit ridiculous. Also, I was messaging Tammy because they were checking this guy was dead, and they literally felt the like radial pulse for about 2 seconds, and I was like, can't feel it, he's dead. And I was like, no, he's still alive. So yeah, if you're ever trying to assess someone if they're dead, make sure you feel like a central pulse, like the carotid, and make sure you feel for like at least 10 seconds, if not more. Yeah, just so you know, if you're ever in that situation. But yeah, so anyway, so that is all the books I'm going to talk about in this recent reads, but keep an eye out for more recent reads because there are a lot more. For more books I've read recently. Yeah, I would really love to know if you've read any books recently, and if you loved them or if you hated them or if you just felt meh about them. Definitely let me know, and if you read any of these and what you thought of them that I've talked about here. Yeah, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I hope you're all having a really great day, and I'll see you next time.